Welcome to
Welcome to episode number 4 of the Colour Sports Podcast, and I'm Greg McDermott, and rudely interrupted by Tim Ballantyne.
It's all about me. It's all about me.
We'll
it's 4.5.
Well, yeah, we had to stuff
up
in the We'll get to number 4.75, hopefully never.
I'll never get those 90 minutes back.
No, never. Anyway, how you been, mate?
Going good, going good. We've got a bit on as usual. There's plenty happening. Heaps happening in colour sports world as well, with our athletes all over the globe, mate, crushing it, continuing just to get better, moving through different parts of the year at the moment. So there's sort of a big switch, which we're going to talk about today. The big switch. We're going to talk like the handover. Some northern hemisphere comes into the warmer months, and the southern hemisphere goes into the cooler months. But that just means you just change your work patterns and change the type of training. But I'll probably jump the gun, but we'll come back to that, hey?
Yeah, wow. Jeez, you just spread the whole show out.
And we'll wrap it up.
That'll do us. So, firstly today we are going to go back half a step, right? And we're going to talk about why we are full-time coaches. Oh. So, yes, I just throwing that on us there. So,
why?
Well, let's first of all, if you don't follow us on social media, you should, absolutely. So, Facebook, Instagram, and I've been asked, this is highlighted and underlined, YouTube.
We need it. There is actually a hell of a lot of good content on YouTube. I'd say our best content is actually on YouTube, because it's you guys.
It's actually pretty entertaining, some of the videos. There's some very funny stuff in there. So if you do subscribe, you'll get alerted on your device when new videos drop, which is
including this one
pretty regularly now.
Yep.
So definitely do that. Just if you can't find it, search Colour Sports.
Correct.
It's not that hard to find. You'll definitely find it there. And something else to talk about too, which we've definitely done before, but I think we want to go a little bit further on this into the future, is definitely our partners in the business.
Definitely.
Which help us, not only us, I shouldn't say that, but definitely, probably more so, our athletes all around the world.
Yep.
And I've had, I'll jump in a little bit here, I've had at least 3 conversations this week about when the clothing's coming.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah. Where's my clothing?
Custom gear takes a few weeks to make.
It's coming. And my response has been, you'll love this, check your email.
Check. Well, yeah, they are. I mean, let's jump in there. Like 2 times you. I mean, I think they've always been within a few days, and that's part of the beauty of it. And then selfishly also, we always laugh when we see club bosses or club staff putting together packages in their garages and then sending them out to various parts of the world. And for us, given 2 times use footprint, it's just all direct. And it gives us more time to coach rather than the mundane chores of sending express post bags. Yeah,
definitely something that I am not doing.
No, that's not why I got into coaching.
So in other news, speaking about partners, I'm making a little trip up to a bike shop this afternoon, our local bike shop.
Yep.
Picking up the 3rd BMC in the family.
Jeepers, what are you getting?
Just a roadie. Just a roadie.
Do you know which one?
Yeah.
You're not like me.
SLR02.
Beautiful colour.
Colour red with
really?
black. Yep, absolutely.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, so I'll...
Where was that?
Durace, of course.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it.
Did you get a good deal?
Oh, yeah, they looked after me.
Yeah,
so,
the colour deal.
Yeah, so we definitely spreading through. I've sold more bikes in the last 12 months than I've ever owned in my life. But now we're a full BMC family. We've got 3 children, two TMO, 2 TMs, and now the roadie coming in. So
the thing is, I mean, if you haven't noticed, to go through our partners, you've got 2 times you, Training Peaks, BMC, International Protein, and Physique. And there's a real, we're going to add one today actually, but there's a real reason why they chose us and we chose them as partnerships. And they're not, it's a bit like, as an athlete, when you have what's called sponsorships, so I much prefer them to be partnerships than sponsorships, because they very, very much are two-way. So this is not about a shameless plug. This is about, you know, partnering with, I would say, market leaders. So, you know, BMC certainly stand near the top. Are they at the top? Or you could argue it's at the pub talk. At the pub talk, you know, you've probably got 3 or 4 at the top. Training Peak clearly for me are miles ahead in terms of performance software. 2 Times You, it's a very saturated market. They were there pretty early days, and they're pretty probably market leaders in terms of compression. Again, pub talk, there's probably a few more. Physique, saddles and stuff like that, and shoes. I mean, shoes, I don't think I've seen or ever walked or a better set of bike shoes than Physique. And International Protein, they are streets ahead of any other supplement, certainly in this area of the world. And the funny thing is that is their parent company who make it. They actually supply about, you know,
400 brands.
Different brands and stuff, and they get, I would say, the first cut, so to speak. So they are market leaders. So they're really handy partners to have, and I think all of them have reps that we can lean on.
Yeah, it's funny we've got contact around the world with every one of those brands, which is amazing. We don't just sometimes the owner, the founder, whatever it is, it's really good.
You just got to feel comfortable that not push is the wrong word, but when someone asks about a TT bike or a road bike, I'm so comfortable in referring a BMC to anyone because, well, I haven't had anyone give them back. So, you know, they're going pretty well. So, the partners are really worth a shout out, and we appreciate them greatly.
Yeah, definitely. So look out on Strava. There'll be some new cups coming through shortly. I'm going to take you down. Actually, I've got my eyes, my ears, a few cups, a few PRs. Yeah. So when I get the roadie out next week, and I'm not lugging a time trial bike up hills or mountains, we'll have a look at it then.
Yeah, right.
Talk later.
It's on. Yeah, it's on.
Yeah. So talk to me about the big fella, Big Tim Ballantyne. What's been happening in your world?
Well, going through, I would call the nesting phase of coming into parenthood again. And for those that have had kids would probably understand that you are overcome to do things that you wouldn't normally want to do, like paint, for example. Painting your room and, you know, making sure that you've got an extra car seat. So if you haven't heard earlier, I do have a second child coming along, and really excited for that. But yeah, it's so funny, you just start to prioritise. The priorities are just, I would say, I'm coming towards the back end of my race season somewhat. I've been going at it very hard since
season
August.
Or career?
That's a ripper. Oh, I got nothing. Oh, burn. I feel like putting a coin in the switch after that. That's an absolute ripper. Well, we'll see. But I'm definitely, I do feel like I'm burning the candle at both ends at the moment. And we've just got to squeeze through this final phase of racing, which I'm still going okay. But I definitely feel it's probably psychological too, Greg.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like, I know it's like the end. It's kind of like when you do an interval set.
Yeah.
And like the second
2 reps to go. The
second last one's the worst.
Yeah.
It's always the worst, and the last one's always the fastest.
Yeah.
So I reckon I'm in the second last one of my intervals.
Yeah.
I just got to sort of push through that phase, but
So leading you on a bit, then, if you're in the second last interval. There's another race.
I'm doing Port Mac. I've entered. I managed.
So that's your last interval. That's your last effort.
No, I've got South Korea after that.
Okay.
So
that's true.
Yeah. So Port Mac. I've never raced there before, mate. So I'm pretty pumped, and I haven't raced in Australia for a number of years. And it's going to be really different because every race I've worked back. My last 7 races, the maximum temp has been over 36 degrees.
Wow. Yeah.
And I have not done a wetsuit swim. So I'm an asthmatic.
Yeah.
I'm a dedicated asthmatic, take it every day. And definitely I struggle when my chest gets, this is going to sound tight. My chest gets tight and cold. So the most nervous thing I am about is Port Mac is that probably that first 30 Ks of the bike.
Right.
And that cold chest and being able to breathe. I know Timmy Reid struggles with it. He often writes about it, how he can struggle, and you see him racing in Asia a lot now.
Yeah.
So
quite a bit.
it's going to be interesting.
And then another one for Port. You probably thought about this. No warm up for the swim.
No
So
warm up.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's just it's going to be different in that regard. But look, I wouldn't enter if I didn't think I was ready to race. So no excuses. But just the Aspen thing will be a bit different. But we'll see how we go.
And I was quite happy the other day because it sold out before I had the opportunity to enter.
I had a couple literally yesterday. I had one bloke go to enter as well, and it had sold out. And hesitators are hesitators and masturbators. So if you hesitate, you're going to miss out. So you just got to get into it and lock it down. So
nice.
Unfortunately, some people missed out, but I'm pumped going up Matthew Flinders Hill. So it's a pretty old. Is it the most? It's the most iconic race in Australia.
Oh, by course. No race. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, for sure.
Cairns is the biggest.
Well supported.
Yeah, but Port Mac. So really looking forward to it, and local race and driving down rather than getting on an overnight flight.
So we'll be heading down together again. We're stopping at the Yatla Pie Shop.
There'll be plenty of stops. Yeah, we're on the way back.
Okay, not on the way down.
Yeah, we're on the way back, but we would actually we should actually mention this. We haven't even spoken about this. So we said last episode we were talking about travelling to races and the advice. We're just going to shift that a couple of episodes because we've just brought a few things forward.
There's a big happening.
So just sit tight for that one. But yeah, road trip, man. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be good fun.
Windows will be definitely down. With you in the
car.
No
Achilles issue. No Achilles.
A lot of protein.
April's going to be in Sydney working, so it'll be the Timmy and Greg show.
The
Timmy and Greggy show.
We should do the next podcast in the car trip.
Oh god, that'd be funny.
That'd be funny.
So I just want to go back to you missed one point. There was a note here about you wanted to.
There's no note.
You wanted to tell the world how good you've been. Where's Alicia been? She's been.
I got a what was it last week? I got a letter in the mail from the Queen.
Oh.
Yeah, and she said that I'm up for a knighthood.
Oh wow.
Pretty generous, I thought. She noticed on Strava. The Queen follows me on Strava.
She's on Instagram now, or is that Harry?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know. But she's on Strava, and she hit me up. She said, "Look, I've noticed you've been doing it tough. You've been doing training at like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, love your dedication. What's going on?" I said, "Look, it's just there comes a point where you need to give the better half a break."
Oh, jeez, this is going to go down well.
And so she had 5 days off down with her girlfriends.
Wow.
In fairness, she's carrying a child, so and I said, "You go down, and I'll hold the fort."
Right.
So for 360 days of the year, she holds it,
yeah.
and then for 5 days of the year, I hold it.
So
Sawyer gets up at 5:30, and
yeah.
I'm like, well, how do I keep my 20 hours in? So I just get up at 3:30.
So there's 2 points here. First point is,
so dead.
I went in to see a friend of ours, a local bike shop owner, a friend of ours, and you were unable to attend the shop to pick up a new purchase you'd made because you were too busy.
They're still there. I still can't make the trip to Noosa.
Right,
20-minute drive.
20-minute drive.
Yeah. I'm working so hard for the athletes over the time.
Our said friend did mention to us, he told me how you were really busy, and I said, well, that's funny. He's told me he's just put Sawyer into daycare for an extra day this week. So you've handballed your child.
Yeah, well... Yeah, that's true. There's no way. No way.
All right. So that's the fun of it. Now I've got a present for you. You don't know about this.
Jesus, you always.
I've got you a medal. If you're watching on YouTube, I've got him a medal for getting up at 3:30 a.m. You had this medal before. I stole it off your shelf. Oh. There it is.
Oh yeah.
So the Ironman 70.3 Len Cowley medal has been presented to Tim Valentine. For OAM, best bloke. Anyway,
oh my god! So it was. Now, serious note about in terms of just without blowing smoke up my rear, but it was a challenging week to try and get everything done. But to get it done, I got my 20 hours in. That's what I shoot for. In case you haven't noticed, it's pretty consistent. On the Sunday night, I knew it was coming, planned. I'm like, well, so basically I had to get up. There's no
night ride. It's
just kind of like, so my daughter gets up at 5:30. Most people will be like, well, that's the time I get up. Well, you know, I mean, it's how bad you want it, really. Okay, sometimes getting up at 3:30 doesn't appeal to most, but I got in 90-minute training sets before my daughter got up, and then wished her away, and then got into the day, and so. That's not about, it's just about planning. Again, we've done this to death, but
desire and planning,
keeping that say-do gap nice and close, because
have the goal at the front of your mind,
and
set the alarm and do it.
Yep,
because no one else is going to get you out of bed.
And it's not, well, for me, I don't know why. I don't find it that hard. I really don't find it. Maybe that's where the motivation sits as well.
Lastly, on you, before we talk about my good self, you've given up on your footy team for the year. They've finished. Tigers?
Well, I got. Did you get a call to? I got a call to play.
You're right.
They've run out of cattle. They've run out of cattle, and they looked at my YouTube videos,
right?
And my hardy and under hardball.
They saw your head.
My Tigers are shot.
They're finished
at the moment. No, they're not finished. No, don't. I reckon.
I'll make the 8.
You'd be very brave to write my Tigers off. Yeah. This is AFL, by the way.
An athlete we do talk about quite a bit on this show is the great Soft. I see him up there, Collingwood, every week with his daughter at the games. He'd be loving it. He'd be sending you texts everywhere.
They flogged us with our VFL side in, so that was a great achievement. But it's going well. But mate, let's flick it back.
Right.
What's going on for you? Are you walking properly again?
I'm walking properly. I am running.
You're doing well, actually.
Half properly. Got my longest run in about 2 months. Geez, the weather helps. It's amazing. I've run in the rain twice, and like, how good's this? Like, it's pissing down, but it's like, this is amazing. Oh, hang on.
You haven't put a deposit in there for a while.
No, it's been a while. That's not a bad one, eh?
Masturbation's not a swear word, is it?
Not anymore.
It's not, no.
Anyway, so that's been good. I'll put a note here, actually, that finding the right allied, I call them allied professionals, if you like, in the health industry, to find the right people.
You have
found a great physio.
Yep.
He's been so thorough. Like, the first time I swiped my card, I'm like, holy Toledo, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's worked.
Okay.
What's
he done? What was the diagnosis and what's happened?
So first of all, I had a tendonitis in my lateral left heel. I'm not going to try and.
It's all right.
Anyway.
It's enough.
So in the fascia around that, which we treated.
Yep.
And then so I was getting taped before every run. Fixed that, and then we shifted that over into the Achilles tendon, right? So I started getting some pain there.
I love learning about athletes' injuries on podcasts.
We've spoken about this. Anyway, so treatment for that is quite simple. So Scott, who's the guy who's treating me, he only really works with athletes, which is great. Works with AFL. Yeah, I know, he let me in, I don't know, stuck in the back door. But he works with AFL players generally.
Yep.
So it's all about managing the injury and overcoming it, rather than traditionally, it's like rest, stop.
Stick a fork in it.
Yeah, just stop.
That's my kind of guy.
So yeah, he's great. So it's a couple of different things. Like, I've had Hiradoid cream on my heel every night. If you haven't,
Hiradoid, that sounds like
if you come into my boudoir at the moment, there's a roll of Glad wrap next to the bed. That's not good. So you wrap it in.
To the left of the handcuffs.
Voltaren and Hiradoid together, right? Slap that on and wrap your foot in Glad wrap every night.
Are you serious?
Honestly, it's worked.
And that makes you sweat.
My pain makes me sweat.
What, does it open your pores? What's
it allows the area of skin to absorb the cream better. So don't laugh. This is going wrong.
You're taking the...
No, I'm serious. I'll send you a photo tonight.
No, you don't. I don't want to see it.
So that's
on your foot.
Yeah. So what I was having is
your foot.
Yeah, my foot. Most times. So my
we're children. Yeah.
I had bad pain in my heel for 15 minutes every morning, and he said we need to get that back to 3 to 5 minutes, which is where we're at now. So I'm able to run again. So anyway, apart from all the jokes and
your longest run lately is
17 on the weekend. So I need to build that.
So
Yep, did see her. Yeah, I ran faster that K. Anyway, I did run quite solid too because April was fluffing around. I ran with April, so she was fluffing around with her headphones for 7 minutes before we left. And after 5, I just said, "See you later."
Catch me.
Yeah,
catch
so
me.
So I knew she was coming. I was like, the deer in the headlights, sort of, or the hare up the road. She ran me down, but it took about 9 Ks, which was quite fun.
So we're back running. That's good. You're definitely good. Bike fit.
Bike's going
your
great.
Swing's
coming along. It's getting better. A second a week at the moment on 100, I reckon.
Yeah, that's pretty good
too. But anyway, it's getting a lot better. It has been a lot nicer to train up here with no heat. But in 2 weeks' time, we're both going to complain because it's too cold, especially you.
Yeah, I know. I'm a complainer when it comes to the cold.
Yeah, so
like that morning on the camp when it was -5.
We're going to hear about that again, no doubt. Every time I ride around there, here we go. I have noticed a couple of arm warmers popping up in Noosa in our bunches. I gave a bit of grief out this morning to a couple of guys in arm warmers. Yeah.
Was it 21?
Probably 19. Yeah. So,
and humid
and raining, but anyway. So that's pretty much me. There's not too much else happening. I have given Ironman my credit card for the umpteenth time, so that's done. So I'm definitely in. Even if it sells out, I've got a ticket.
That's good.
So we'll be up there in June.
What are you doing for accommodation up there?
Oh, so good, so good.
The perks?
Great athlete that I coach, Steve Davis. What a great bloke. Putting April and I up for the week.
How good is that?
Yeah. Pick us up from the airport, drop us up to the race. Thanks, Steve.
How good is that?
Yeah, so that's going to be good. He'll be coming out and he'll be taking us out for a couple of rides while we're up there. So that'll be great. And
so that'll be good. You'll be able to get the lay of the land a little bit up there.
Yeah. So he's just out of town, I believe, out at Edge Hill.
Okay.
That way, so a really nice spot.
No idea where it is.
No. So you'll be staying in the same digs as you do every year. The quality accommodation finder that Tim is with the drunks that sit in the church behind each night.
I like to stay across the road from a good buffet.
That's exactly this place.
As we always know.
Yeah. So anyway, so you'll be down the hill a little bit, but that'll be.
Talk about throwing me under the bus the other day.
Oh my God, I wasn't going to go here, but you just brought it up.
You threw me under the bus massively.
Tim and I have been talking for at least 3 months about how good the Monday night in Cairns is going to be because you're definitely off the drink and I'm pretty much the same.
Yeah, I've been over 12 months.
So we're gonna have a nice night out in Cairns. It's about 3 weeks before Tim's family
expands
by 25%. So we're having a nice little coffee actually on Sunday afternoon, a bit of Turkish bread and some dips. And something came up about it. I said, how good's that going to be Monday night in Cairns? And Alicia's...
I still got a hole in the side of my head.
From your mother or from your wife?
Both. Both. I got. You know, you say, oh, you got the look. I got 4 eyeballs that looked through my soul.
And then April kept digging. I'm like, whoa, no, this is not happening.
If it was okay to kick people, I would have kicked it.
So Tim's flying back Sunday night.
I'll be there. So I'm going to do a Geelong again. Before you walk across the finish line, I've got to be home. So yeah, Monday night.
The flight could get cancelled though.
It's not gonna. We'll see.
We'll put it off.
We'll see. I can come up.
No casino on the Friday and Saturday night this year either, because I'm going to be racing. So you'll be by yourself.
I will be dabbling at the Reef Casino. It's the best. It's the only casino where sandals, that is for our. Not. I'm not going to walk in a G-string. Are acceptable.
That is true. It is true. And last year, actually, just a funny story before, we're waffling a bit here, but great podcasting.
Yeah.
Last year, we were in the Reef Casino, is it called?
Reef, I just said that.
Oh, sorry. Jeez, 2 ears, 1 mouth. The night before the race, and sitting next to us at the roulette table, if you remember this, was an athlete.
That's right.
With a wristband on.
Yeah, that's right.
Racing the next day.
I think he was 3 pints deep. He was 3 pints deep, that's right.
Well, aren't you supposed to be racing? Oh yeah, just loosen up the nerves a little bit in the casino the night before.
Works.
Yeah.
I think he's DNF.
Yeah, he's probably still running around. So, all right, enough about us. I think that's pretty much ticked all the boxes
We were talking about. I'd like to shout out to a few.
That's what I'm going to go back to here.
Can I take over numbers?
Well, you wanted to take over at the start. I'm out of a job. Anyway, yeah. So let's. We definitely we do listen to all the feedback that comes in, and we've had from a few people that they want to hear a little bit more about our athletes.
Yeah, and also last episode. Don't take this personally, was a little quiet apparently. So we have made some adjustments to make this louder. How that's for your eardrums. So this one should be a little louder.
The sound will be better. I've been
you're getting the hang of it.
YouTubing the hell out of GarageBand. If you know more about GarageBand than me, which is probably most of you, please let me know. More than happy to. There's a plugin on it called Noise Gate that I've been playing around with.
Let me tell you, listeners, that the sound down is better than having to do the whole damn podcast.
4.5.
You just have to wear it. But no, credit, mate. You're actually doing a damn good job. I'm listening to many different podcasts, and some of the production quality is, I think, appalling. Yeah. So you're doing a good job. But
so on to our good athletes, great athletes out there.
You're all wonderful, by the way.
Yeah.
You're all wonderful.
Yeah, so we're not, if you don't get called, there's no, I need to say this, right? So I went to my nephew's soccer game, first ever soccer game on the weekend. Had to have an hour out mid-ride.
Draw?
No, not allowed to keep score. Not allowed to keep score.
Don't.
So Jacko loved it. He should be playing footy like rugby league because he just charged at everyone, right? He just took people out. Loved it. Had a great time.
Yep.
Half the kids wandered off 7 minutes in because they wanted a drink. Right, they're 5, right?
Rotation policy.
So no goals, no kept score, right? Because the kids are working it out between themselves, right? So there's none of that, and I'm big on there's got to be winners and losers. So this is not going to be I'm just prefacing this because not every one of our athletes is going to get a call out.
Yeah, but the beauty of it is we coach adults.
We're doing a spread.
Let's be adult about it, and if you're not read out, it's all good. We
still love you.
We still love you, but there are some performances that stand out.
And they're not always, like this week, they're not always going to be the fastest guy in the world.
No.
So it's more about the story behind it. So I might kick it off actually, because I know a little bit about the first athlete we've got.
Of course.
Which and this is by no means what's going to happen.
Is she dual coached like Karim?
Oh, you brought it up. Karim.
How good was that?
That's so good. Alright, you got to share now.
I better.
Yeah.
Did I just say that?
Yes.
Did I just put a name to that? Sorry, Karim.
He won't mind. He won't mind.
That was really.
So I came on board full time with Tim in October 2018. So 6 months ago, we had a 6 month lunch last week.
We did. We actually did.
Tim had a Coke Zero. Anyway, so
I'm no fun at the moment.
So Karim contacted Tim and asked him about. No, you tell the story.
Let me tell. Yeah. He goes. So we were obviously just walking through. Karim and I, we could chat 2 times a day for half an hour, like all athletes. No, just kidding. We're just having a bit of a catch up, and he was wondering. He said something along the lines of he was really enjoying Greg's swim sets, and it sort of took me back for a second. I'm like, I'll just let that slide, and it came up again. Basically, I think Karim was under the impression that we both coached him, which was pretty bad for me. Really, I took that to heart a little bit. But because I must have had caps lock on when I was writing one of the week's programs on his swim sets, he thought that because it was written differently that you'd written them. And he'd been under the impression for about 3 months that we were both coaching him. So he had 2 coaches.
Awesome.
Which is a great feeling, but I unfortunately...
You had to tell him.
I don't even think Usain Bolt had 2 coaches. So it was quite. I genuinely, when I hung up the phone, I got straight on to you. I said, "You'll never believe it's pretty funny." But
and to be fair, Karim is going great guns. He's plenty of races. Geez, he does some races. So.
Yeah, he said he's wondering if he's over raced, but he's not. You're not, mate. You're not. You're just you're a short course weapon.
Cool. So on to a lovely lady down in Victoria.
Yep.
Who
tough as nails.
Oh yeah. So no, I'll let you tell the story. You go.
Okay. Well, Christy Glenn, I've been working with for a couple of years, but ever since we started working together, she has had a chronic Achilles issue, such that it we knew that it required surgery in such a way, but we were trying to manage it and do everything possible to avoid surgery. Yeah. She was a gymnast, and I think that did the damage. But she's big into Pilates and strength training, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, amazing. But her father, as I hope she doesn't mind me saying, but it is part of the story, and it's all public anyway. Suffers from Parkinson's disease, and she actually wrote quite an amazing note to me that basically the week after we started working together was when she found out. So not when you're a week deep in a coaching relationship, you're not going to know this, right? Yeah. But she'd been trying to figure out basically some goals and what to do with this situation, because she wanted to do triathlon. We had setback after setback. Basically, whenever we'd load up the running, it would just basically get really, really angry. Yeah. And we tried all sorts of interventions. So she booked in for surgery, which she's now had, and so she's I'm going to say 10 days post-op now. So she's on the way back. We're going to do plenty together. But one of the things she really wanted to do was do a ride, because she's actually a damn good cyclist, and she decided to ride from Melbourne to Sydney as a way to raise awareness for Parkinson's disease. So Melbourne to Sydney is about
900.
Yeah, she wanted to do coastal, so I think
it's
about
a little bit more.
Yeah, it's over 1,000 k's,
Yeah.
And stage it out over the course of a week, or 10 days or something. Yeah. So stop in towns, do talks and things like that. But as sometimes these things go, they don't always go to plan. Yeah. Very frustratingly for her, it wasn't her fitness that was the issue, it was cars and trucks and riding on a highway, and she genuinely had some pretty frightening moments and close moments on a section of highway. And you know what? It's not worth your life. No. And, you know, it was a really tough decision for her, but I joke that she got to a place called Lakes Entrance, let's call it halfway. And for those that know, she's, at the end of the day, you just rode 600 kilometres away, which is no mean feat. But she decided to pull the pin on the ride at that point, but carry on in terms of the spreading of the awareness. She reached her fundraising goal over 10 grand. Yeah.
And still rode where she could.
Rode where she could.
Did runs.
Did some runs.
With a busted ankle. And she's like, might as well stuff it.
She was. You can't get. They're about to cut her open. So I just want to do a really, not a shout out is almost selling it short, but I was very, very inspired by what she did, and almost I think the fact that it didn't go to plan and she wasn't able to ride the whole way actually added some colour to the story, because it was never really about the ride.
It was about raising awareness.
And her dad, her dad's going through a terrible battle. So Christy, we love you, and we can't wait to see you on a start line very soon, on a run start line this time.
So really cool. So I had a chat with Christy in, probably November last year, because I've obviously done that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's correct.
And there was,
she did have 2 coaches for a while then.
So it was just really cool. Like I, try to help her out with routes and stuff like that. But one of the things that does come up when you do these, especially in our country, and it would happen anywhere in the world, if you're going to do long distance cycling on remote roads, traffic sometimes, and it can get really bad. We've had we don't want to talk about too much, but you can get killed, right? So if you're going to get a bit spooked and there's definitely some idiots out there on the road, you're better off just, hey, take it easy. It's not, you'd rather get up the next morning and keep going on your journey rather than being in a bag somewhere.
Well, how many people now midweek just do indoor training?
Oh yeah. Is that a Segway?
No, not yet. But there's a few other, and for that matter, Harish.
Yes.
A guy, Harish, who on the YouTube channel, for those that want to meet Harish, he's based in India.
The balcony rider.
He's the balcony rider. Yeah, he'll be laughing. And another awesome story where he came all the way from India with his family last year in August to come and race the Sunshine Coast Half. And unfortunately that day the swell was about 7.8 metres.
Did the coach tell him how it's like the swing bath down here?
It usually is.
No, I don't know.
It was one out of the box, and the poor bugger, he didn't get through the swim under the cut-off time. He finished the swim.
Right.
He hashtag D&D, which is our joke, did not dive. But it took him about 90 minutes to do the half swim, which he won't mind me saying. It's not his strong point. But such is the man, rather than going back into his shell and giving it all up because it's all too hard, he's like, no, I'm going to overcome this. And 2 weeks ago, he completed a 5-kilometre ocean swim in Goa. And it's a real credit to someone who, technically should be absolutely shit scared of the ocean. And that's not to say he isn't nervous like most people before they get in, but there's only one way to overcome it sometimes, and that's to try and push through. Easier said than done, I know, but yeah, absolutely super.
Nice. We're going to talk about one more athlete, I think.
Well, Joel, more at the pointy end, he had what I would say as a top end age group, a real breakthrough race. Yep. So I met Joel, on the massage table in Malaysia after the race.
Oh, really? After the race? That's still at the race, or is it? Oh, okay.
That's just still at the race, and he was one of those guys that, I'll be honest, I put the coach hat on and said, man, I want to coach you because I've seen you now for many years, and you shouldn't be where you are.
Yeah.
And we exchanged multiple emails for a few months and closed him. That sealed the deal, but I knew I could help him.
Yeah,
and I really knew I could help him, that he was clearly just doing something that the connection just wasn't there. And so he had his first race, Devout, in Philippines.
Crushed it.
Absolutely crushed it. So this is a guy with 3 kids under 5, travels for work, just unbelievable work-life balance.
Yep.
But runs an outlook like you wouldn't believe.
Yep.
Gets up early, gets it done, and he did a 4:20, won his age group by a fair bit, and second overall, and he's on to Cairns Ironman.
Yeah, first Ironman. That's what he's posted.
First Ironman.
I think it's his Instagram. His wife does his Instagram.
He does. Yeah. I think he keeps a low profile on social, which in his role I can understand. But so it's reward for effort there for a guy that has got a very compressed schedule, which many of you do, I know. But he's more at that top end, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do at Cairns. Because he probably has a small little red dot on his back now. I would say. People know who he is now in his age group. So we'll just keep pushing on.
Nice. I think it's good to touch. We'll do a couple every week, or and we're not just going to do it for the sake of it, but I think it's good to talk about the successes of some of our athletes all around the world.
So we're lucky, and we get inspiration from everyone, right? So and so should you. But
that's really good.
We should dive into
cool. So
changing seasons.
We're changing seasons.
We are.
If you're in the southern hemisphere, like we don't really. We're a bit different.
We're
subtropical. So if you're Sydney, Melbourne viewers going into winter, started to see some things coming through on training. Bit more treadmill work, bit more indoor cycling. Look, even up here, I've noticed some trainers going out the door more in local shops, which I keep my ear to the ground there and what's happening. However, in the northern hemisphere, we're going the other way. So I've I had a guy coaching in France, Adrian, sent me a message this morning. He was going away skiing on the weekends, being camp. So
no snow.
So season's finished. They're all back out on the bikes. They're out. So some of the photos, like I've got another guy, Alex, in Switzerland, and the photos he sends me on his runs. Oh my god. Like just crazy.
Stunning.
Oh man. So they're, snow's all dissipating, spring's coming through. So that's a totally different switch. But I think in general terms, it's all about change. It's about, how do you adapt to that? And
changing seasons should not come as a surprise to any human being over the age. It
sort of happens every year.
You kind of know what's coming, and so you can plan for it. But with a change comes a change in training and focus, and perhaps you move, for the Northern Hemisphere guys, they're coming out of their strength-based block and more into their build race phase.
They're starting to look at races.
And for the guys in our neck of the woods, they're perhaps going the other way. That said, there's still plenty of races this time of year in the Southern Hemisphere. But we wanted to talk about essentially because the change, let's focus on, look, when you come into the grid, I think you can sort of park that and that's, you get to do your racing and you're well prepared, hopefully you've done all the strength work, but I think this is a really risky phase for many athletes in the Southern Hemisphere. Now, this could be interpreted as two coaches who run a business that are just trying to keep people on program. And that's fine. If you want to interpret it that way, that's fine. But if you haven't noticed, if you got into coaching for money, you're in the wrong business. So this is genuinely about helping people keep that say-do gap for next season close. So I always call, for me, off-season is about a week or too long. It's just a couple of weeks where you just don't have to train and do what you want. But then it quickly shifts to pre-season for me. And that's the kind of language that I use with my athletes. It's not to suck people and keep people on. But nothing frustrates me more when they've done all the work and they hand it all back. And they basically, what a lot of athletes, not so much make the mistake, but they just climb the same mountain every year, and they wonder why that mountain never gets taller. So they're just basically going up Mount Coolum or whatever, the same thing every year. And it's like, why isn't my mountain getting bigger? Well, it's because the whole saying about champions are made in winter. Well, it's kind of true. Like, if you can. There are some athletes that are self-motivated and can do it, but there's still that purpose. And if you think about what we are as coaches, which is obviously the performance programming side, but the accountability side, when do you need accountability? Right?
When the chips are down.
When a
session turns into a day, turns into a week, turns into a month, that's when the coaching kicks in.
Exactly. So I think accountability really comes into its own during these periods for the Southern Hemisphere. So when it's a bit darker and you wake up and there's that cold mist and it's raining, they're difficult mornings to get up. And if you're not accountable to a coach, you are more likely to not do that session.
100%. And the bigger one for me is to as bigger one for me is to not have a goal. So
that's a really big one.
Setting a goal that's a year away is great, but we need a couple of stepping stones along the way.
Process goals.
Especially when you come, and this relates to, so podcasts last forever. So if you're listening to this and in 6 months' time and you're in Europe coming into winter,
it's a good point.
You look at your running season, same as here, right? So we're starting to come into, we've got a great running season in Australia, and not to just, we coach triathletes, we coach cyclists, we coach runners, but coming off that summer build in whatever sport you're in, running's always a good one. If your body can hold together and you do the right strength work, running's always great.
Running's a winter sport.
Great, absolutely.
Running's a winter sport.
We've got some great events down here. There's great events all around the world, anywhere. So definitely setting goals through the year. So saying, I want to do that event next year, that's fantastic, but let's set some milestones along the way, so that training peaks chart doesn't look like the Alps. It looks like some rolling hills.
And look, I've had a number. So this is my fourth year, or third year full-time coaching, and you do get, there's been quite a few people that have come off program at the moment, and I still am yet to. So prove me wrong. I'm still yet to meet an athlete come back the way that they said that they would. I've never met one. And I think there's something in that, and as someone who, as a coach, and like you, mate, the same, you invest so much into your athletes, and then you just know that you're going to give so much of it back, and then you've got to rebuild the machine. It can be really frustrating, and the frustration only comes from a caring point of view.
Totally.
It's like, freaking hell, now we've got to, come back, and that's fine. People have plans, and sometimes you just want to have a bit of time off. That is okay.
Totally cool.
That is absolutely okay. But I would just have these real honest discussions about this change of season and what you can accomplish. I mean, typically, for that build early that pre-season phase, like what's the sort of the stuff that you would give to athletes,
for myself,
as a coach, for someone who is potentially got an A race in September, October, like what would they be doing now over the next few months to set that up?
So I definitely look at some strength build work, absolutely. and then getting back to, so if there's some technique issues to work on, absolutely use that time to do that.
Yeah. I haven't put you on the spot there, sorry.
That's all right. I'm happy to answer it. That's good. And so the technique stuff, I think you can really work on. And I'll throw this is going to segue into it anyway, so I'll throw it out there now. Use the tools that are around you. So if it's coming down sideways, I had an athlete last week, went out for a ride, 4:30 in Sydney on a Sunday morning, and just happened to say, oh, how funny is this? Like it was coming in sideways. I'm like, mate, go home and get on the trainer. Like it's no longer safe.
Yep.
It's, how can I say as a coach, go out and do the session, he comes off his bike and breaks his collarbone. And then, so there's things like that you can definitely get involved with, sort out any injury issues you might have, and the strength thing's where it's at for me over winter.
Yep.
So whether you're listening to it again in the Northern Hemisphere through your next winter, or maybe you missed a bit over this winter, I always loved working with the Northern Hemisphere athletes because of the cardio strength that they get from skiing.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Oh, it's
some of them do more than the TSS is higher in a week than if they're training.
I know, it's amazing.
And have a couple of beers at the end of it. So that sort of answers that a bit. I just really concentrate on strength and adapting to your environment a little bit more. We both got rained on, in the last week, heavy. It's a bit different up here, like it's still 21 degrees and you're smiling.
Not rigid.
It just annoys me that I can't change the song on my iPhone because the touch screen doesn't work anymore, you know what I mean? So, but definitely getting sick by training is not a good idea. If you're feeling off, change up, let your coach know. Whether that's me, you, or someone else, doesn't matter. Get a coach and let them know how you're feeling.
Well, you just touched on sickness. I mean, you're more likely now to start getting colds and flus and that sort of season. And there's ways, whether you're anti-vax or vax, you can get a flu jab. You can start to put in places where you can start eating good food, there's all sorts of things that you can do. Prevention, that's not going to guarantee anything.
No.
But certainly, sleep, we touched on sleep, so better sleep and things like that.
That's like, for me, that sort of stuff is like putting a seatbelt on in the car.
Yeah.
It might not save your life, but it might actually
Whoever invented the seatbelt alarm can get stuff. It's the most.
Where did that come from?
Because when you said seatbelt, it gives me the twitches. But I also find that sometimes it's single sport focused as well. So this is for multi-sport athletes where it's like, okay, so I've got quite a few at the moment who are literally focusing on running or building their cycling, where they're still doing the other two or other one sport as a kind of a maintenance thing, but giving them a single focus can give them little goals as well. So doing a single sport focus, but hey, have the conversation with your coach. There's so many ways where you can get so much. And then guess what? You come out of this phase of the next 3, 4, 5 months, and you are so far ahead, and I guarantee you the mountain that you climb next racing season, you will reach new heights. Yeah, well, the mountain might be as hard to climb, but the top of the view at the top's a lot better. It's a hell of a lot better, yeah. So it's really interesting. So I'm now in season 2 of that. So athletes doing Cairns for the second time this year, and looking at that Training Peaks chart that. Last year, they're 45% fitter than what they were when they completed the race last year, and we're still 10 weeks out. That's going to be a different thing to look at. Yep. So it's really cool. And then, let's be honest, technology is making it a lot easier now for people to train indoors. And there's really, I shouldn't say no excuses. There's always, we've touched on this before, but it's a lot easier to stay fit over the colder, darker months now. Because some of the technology out there is pretty phenomenal. All right. So if there's a prize for segueing, like you just won the golden ticket, I think we'll give Where's my medal?
Get the medal out again. That was great. That wasn't even scripted. Was that obvious enough? Nah, we're going to go there. I've been dragging this on for about 2 months. No one cares except for us. We had this conversation last night. We had the conversation last night. And of course, everyone already knows about it because it's on. Of course. Social, but we're going to talk about it in. All right. Ready? What are we doing? So, in case you missed it, and we did touch on this maybe a few podcasts ago, Coa Sports
are now in a formal partnership alongside Zwift and Training Peaks. So we've sort of come together in that regard. So Zwift, for those who aren't aware, is by far and away the best indoor cycling training technology. For those Trainer Road people out there, guess what? I use Trainer Road too, so don't sweat it, it's good. Yeah. But Zwift takes it, I believe, to a whole new level. And running, they're doing the running component. That's absolutely. I just want to start. There's a few people actually I want to thank. So guys at Zwift, Jordan, Bill, Craig, Tyler at Zwift, we've been working damn hard to make this happen. And in its own right, it may seem at the surface that this has all been done before, but I trust me, it hasn't. And then in such a way of delivering this indoor season, so to speak. And look, I've been using Zwift myself for many years. I probably was just using it as training software for the first 3 years, and then I certainly got more involved in the racing side, and that definitely opened my eyes to pushing so much harder.
Yeah. So I'll jump in for a sec. You've mentioned this a few times in the last few weeks, because this has been, I think we started talking about this in probably early December, might have started, you and I. So you put down some of your success that you've had this year in racing down to using Zwift as a platform to build strength on the bike.
Yeah, Zwift and Zwift Racing.
And
there's
racing,
absolutely no doubt that going from the 20th fastest age group bike split to now the fastest has got something to do with Zwift Racing. There's no doubt about it. Put it this way, I can flog myself on the trainer at like the best of them, right? And flog myself on my own for, and push the equivalent for me, say 240 watts. So I go do an hour Zwift race and my MP is more like 290. So I'm getting a huge uptake.
You're never going to do that on the road.
I'm a bit of an animal when it comes to those things. So I see enormous benefits. So look, mate, we wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't genuine benefit for our athletes. There's a lot of benefits which we're going to go through.
So first question, or not first, probably the second one. I'm going to play devil's advocate, right? So
go for it.
Tim, mate, it's just a video game. Like, it's just a bit of fun on a thing. I'll just get on my trainer. Right? So how, answer me that. What's the benefits in relationship to using it as a tool for training as opposed to just a game? Because I think both tie in really well together.
Yeah, so firstly, Zwift, how Zwift works.
Yeah, that's probably more of where I need you to.
Yeah, that's okay. So how Zwift works, for those that don't know, if you have the attitude where it's like, without even trying it, it's just not for me, you're going to regret it. I would say that attitude would be similar to the people that didn't think the heart rate monitor was going to work, didn't think the power meter really was just a flash in the pan. I think that if you have the attitude that Zwift Racing is that sort of thing, you're in trouble.
Because you'll be too far behind the ball.
And it's fun.
It's absolutely.
It's damn fun, and it can really make you better. And it's all indoors. So you have your power. So you need a power meter or a smart trainer for a start. You've got to have some sort of power output. Now, if you don't get all this in the podcast, obviously
pick the phone up.
Email. Talk to us. And we'll clarify a lot of it. But really, so what we're trying to do is, it's for Coa Sports athletes in season 1, but anyone can join. Now that might be confusing for some. So if you're an existing Coa Sports athlete, you simply pay a one-time fee, which is $289 US, and that gives you access to the whole season. So that season runs from late April to early October. Right now, within that season is about 24 events. So you are essentially paying for an event. Essentially, so we're doing group workouts, a racing season. So there's a 9-race season, right, with a final at the end with over $3,000 US worth of prizes.
That's pretty cool.
Now, if you are not a Coa Sports athlete and you are listening, this is the kicker.
There it is. You're not even a partner.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. So we're offering Training Peaks' first ever E-Sports coaching package. So I am of the firm belief that esports will become a a discipline in its own right.
Agreed.
So when you tick boxes in terms of an expertise as a coach, at the moment you tick Ironman, running, strength,
cycling,
exterior, cycling. At the moment there's no esports, but I'm going to force it. We are going to force it upon them that it's going to become such a big thing, be part of it, that esports will become an expert thing as a coach, because there are idiosyncrasies with the technology and that rise where as coaches we can offer specific value. So you can become what's called an esports athlete, and that gives you access to the season as well. So there's sort of two ways to it. All our existing athletes who are, let's call them terra firma athletes, they'll get all the esports coaching as part of the season. But if you just want to do the
indoor training,
which is we're here to help you. So that's certainly something new and exciting. And as a level 27 Zwifter.
Whoa! Didn't it just get reset to 25?
No, they've upped it. You can get to 50 now.
50.
So
I won't tell you my level, but I'm coming.
You are coming like you're the sort of bloke that will go past me in a
So pre-talking to you in December, I was the guy that said, why would I get on a trainer? I live on the Sunshine Coast. You know, what's the benefit for me? I've got some of the best riding roads in the world. The weather's no problem. But on a trainer, I can't ride with my mates. So then I get into it, and I'm like, I know I've shared this on the podcast before around, being not let's go there. Being addicted to alcohol, right? So there is a bit of that in it, I think. There's a bit of like, what's next? There's a bit of adrenaline that comes in, and it's definitely, so one of the biggest kicks I got last week was I jump on there and there's two of my athletes on there. I'm like, let's go right.
Who's that?
So off we go. So, and then there's texting going on, and it was a social thing and all that sort of stuff. But
that connection, I think, is a big thing.
Huge. So one, I'm going to get out the segue here too. So one of the concerns that, that we're going to hear from some of our athletes is, Tim and Greg, we're both pretty full on with work, like we're busy.
Yes.
So how are we going to fit this in, and that's not going to take away from me as an athlete. So was our biggest concern into going into a new, like any business. You can't roll Peter to pay Paul. It doesn't work.
So if only days are 28 hours long, right?
That would be good, but they're not. I'd probably just sleep for 4 more hours. Anyway, so I'm going to leave you there to introduce what we're going to do there on that front.
Well, we are bringing a new team member on, and for those watching on YouTube, he can come.
He's coming in hot. Bring your chair. He's been sitting in the naughty
corner. And a lot of people you would know. So Ken Cross, ladies and gentlemen, is joining Coa Sports, and he is somewhat, I would say, of an esports expert, and he brings skills that you and I don't have. And have already taught us plenty, and probably more on the gaming side as well, but he wants to expand his coaching. I'm going to shut up. Ken, welcome my friend, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
That's a good accent.
Yeah,
where's that from?
It's a bit of a hybrid accent, isn't it?
Oh no.
So let's go back. So let's for those of you who haven't met Ken, you came to the camp last year, mate.
I did, as an athlete, yeah.
And coming close, mate, right in close, that's it. So
I won't bite.
Yeah, and let's let the listeners and other Coa Sports athletes know about, not right back to your birth, but let's learn a little bit about you, mate. Tell us about yourself, man.
Yeah, well, the accent, I'm Australian through and through. I'm born in Australia, born in Brisbane.
Yep.
Got a twin sister, so I'm a twin.
No way?
Yep.
Are you evil or good?
I'm the good one, I'd say. My twin Chelsea, she can be a bit of a handful, but she won't listen to this at all, so I can say what I want. She's not going to listen.
Sense of humour, as you can tell.
This is a twin sibling rivalry. So my parents, they're English, so they moved to Australia 25 years ago, I think, something like that.
Yep.
As I sort of grew up, went through like...
So you're a Brisbane boy?
Yeah, I'm Brisbane,
Brisbane.
I've been in Brisbane for years and years, never left. I think the warmth always kept me there. Like you boys, Sydney, Melbourne, couldn't do it.
We're not going back.
No. grew up in Brisbane in the sunshine and stuff, and that's great. And yeah, like I've always been sporty.
Yeah, that's true.
Not necessarily in ways that other people would think, like ball sports, tennis, all that, rackets, useless.
Yep.
Like
Hand-eye coordination.
hand-eye coordination is not very good.
Yeah.
So I remember as a kid going to like so many different clubs trying softball, like t-ball, AFL, all of this stuff.
So you were as bad as Tim at those sports?
Worse.
Worse?
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
okay, that's
I put my hand on it. So yeah, I was
You're gonna play golf.
So it got to the point where I was like, oh, well, my parents were like, oh, what's going to happen? Like,
Something's wrong with you.
Something's wrong with your child.
what's wrong with his hand-eye coordination? What, like, did you get knocked on the head or something? That.
But you discovered you could drive a car.
I can drive a car, yeah. So that's my background.
Tell us about that.
Yeah,
I reckon that's a great
That's
story.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so I used to be a professional racing driver.
Hold.
Hang
How
on,
good
who
is that?
gets to say that?
How good is that?
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's normal for me. So it's weird, like when other people say it, just seems normal. Because I've done this since I was like 6.
Yep.
Like 7 years old, from a young age.
It's not all glitz and glam though. It's probably like, the up and coming professional, the whole professional thing. It's probably a bit like triathlon.
It's like anything.
You're not all Daniel Ricciardo's and Mark Webber's.
No, I don't have a big smile as him, but
yeah,
no, it's like it always looks like from the outside it looks really great, and it is like it's really good. Like, don't get me wrong, but there's also a lot of hard work. There's meetings. It's business. It's a business. Like you're not just driving a car. So anyway, I started as a kid. I wasn't doing business stuff when I was 7 years old. I was just in karting with my family, and it was a big family thing. So like every weekend, like literally every weekend, we would be racing. So I'd leave school on the Friday, go all around Australia, race karts, and we did that for 7 years maybe, something like that. We owned a kart shop.
Yep.
So it was all big stuff, and then
there's a real sort of father-son thing. Is that not right?
It's more father-son. It was a big family thing. Like my mum, she ran the shop as well. Like it was a big family thing.
Yeah, cool. I like that.
And then it sort of progressed. I was like, well, I like this. I was like, and I'm pretty good at it. I've won a few titles and stuff, and I was like, I can do well. So we were like, well, what's the next step? Move into cars. So when I was 14, moved into cars, and some people were like, hang on a second, you're 14, you don't have a driver's license. So I was just, it's different, it doesn't matter.
On a track. Yep.
Yeah, so I moved into cars, and I did that for 2 or 3 years in Australia. And then I come to the end of schooling, and I was like, all the teachers are like, what are you going to do when you leave school? You've got to figure out what you want to do. What's your career path? And I was like, I'm going to race cars. And they're like, no, you're not. You can't do that. That's not a job. And I was like, yeah. Looking back on it, maybe. But I was like, no, that's what I'm going to do. So I finished school when I was 17. So
had you heard of a sport called triathlon when you were 17?
Never heard of it.
Yeah, cool. Me too.
Never heard of it.
Me too.
Yeah. So I moved. I was like, I want to do this properly. So I basically moved to the UK, which is where the accent is coming in.
Yep.
And I moved there for racing. Yeah. So.
Yep. And you're about to turn 26. 26, just to give some context. So this is not like it's not. You're not telling a story from 19 French people.
It wasn't with Neil Grabban, was it?
Yeah.
Did I just make that up?
Ken has no grey hair like Greg and I.
No.
Not yet. Maybe I will after hanging around you guys.
Yeah.
For a long
It won't take long if you hang out with Tim for more than a couple of days.
E-Sports might give you a few guys. We'll get into that.
But yeah, so I moved to England when I left school on my own. I mean, I've done a bit in Asia previously. I skipped that, but just sort of back and forth, just traveling. But I made a switch and a change to go to Europe. So I know all about the cold and the training and stuff in the cold. But yeah, I raced professionally in single seaters, so like sort of Formula 1 feeder series.
Cool.
Sort of.
Did you have a big crash?
I've had
I've go straight to the
crashes. I've had a couple, but like nothing major. Never broke anything or anything.
Because they're built in such a way
They're
that
so safe.
it's all like coming off your bike.
But it's a bit more expensive when you crash one of those things to ripping your derailleur off.
Just a little bit.
You
Knock a corner off on a car that's like 10 grand. One corner. If you have a big one, then you're talking. Like,
And that's out of your pocket. That's out of the team.
You got insurance, but it's only up to a certain amount.
Has insurance
premiums.
It's big. Like it's crazy. So yeah, that was what I did for years and years and years.
It's elite sport though. Like
that was
certainly
the top, yeah. So I was doing, like I said, a lot of single-seater stuff like feeder series to Formula One, and then it sort of got a little bit too much money. Like we're talking like, so as I said before, you think triathlon's expensive. Like one season of racing for me was like £500,000.
So,
wow.
So have you sort of like, when you get to that level, like say pre getting in an F1, right, or getting on a team to start with, are you sort of got to buy your own seat in the car? Is that how it works?
Pretty much, yeah. The guy with the biggest pockets, the deepest pockets, is going to have the seat. Like, because I mean, at the end of the day, they have to run a business as well.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
So
if you got the Ricardo smile, that helps you get in the front of the car a little bit easier.
a little bit, yeah. There's that personality to come out, and you know, you've got to be
I'm
marketable.
sure skill has stuff.
I'm sure
skill's the thing, but that's the other catch. Like, if you can have all the money in the world, but if you can't drive, you can.
You're out.
No, sorry. Like, you're just still in. Whereas if you are an amazing driver,
you might not go anywhere.
You might not go anywhere.
But there is certainly a financial element to triathlon. I mean, you know, with how you can buy a little speed on your bike. Like you can buy speed. Controversially, you can buy speed. Absolutely, you can. You know, if you can add a bit of ceramic speed, or you can get a better TT bike.
No, I won't go there.
No, don't go there. Definitely don't go there. But you can do it. So there's certainly that element. It's a bit like sailing as well.
Yeah. So transitioning then, how did you like get into like triathlon? So you've ended up now at 26. You've completed 3 Ironmans, which neither of us ever did by that stage in our lives. So you know what?
Had a good clip too.
Yeah, I know. So how did that transfer happen?
Yeah, that was. I didn't really expect it because when I was growing up, I was always gung ho on motorsport. That's what I said. You know, I was going to be in F1. I was going to do this, and it got to the point where it was just too much money. I couldn't get in because of sponsors. There were other drivers getting in with more money. And I got to the point where I was like, I don't enjoy it anymore. And when that happened, I was like, that's when I'm going to stop. So I stopped, but I'm competitive. I'm still really competitive. So I ran anyway. Like I was a runner because I used to train. And
of course.
When I was running for motorsport, I was like, I'm really fit. Like this is, I could easily win a running race. And then I did my first running race, and I was like, wow, there's a whole nother level. Which is good for the motivation. But I met a few people through work that actually did triathlons, and a really close friend of mine, she was a runner, and she got me into running. Went and did marathon and half marathons and stuff like that. And then she got injured and basically hurt her knee. And her mum and her partner are massive cyclists. Like they cycle loads. So her mum's like, oh, you've injured your knee, you can jump on the bike. And I'm like, if someone else is doing it, I want to do it. So I didn't want to miss out. So I got a bike, started biking, and then I was like, well, I can swim. I'm Australian, I learned how to swim.
Are you?
Yeah, I am Australian.
Can you?
Can I swim? Yeah.
You can swim just fine.
So I was like, I'll give it a go. So, I mean, you start triathlon, you probably start in a sprint distance, right?
Yep.
You never know. I mean, I hadn't even heard of it.
What was your first triathlon?
Ironman.
Stop the fight, really?
Yeah, it was. So I did Ironman.
Not even a half.
Not even a half.
Straight in.
Well, I did a long distance duathlon first, but it's not quite the same.
No, it's not.
But yeah, straight in. And my thinking was, well, if I do Ironman, I'm going to do all those distances leading up to it anyway. So
that was how it started. Like you hit me up on Instagram, didn't you?
You hit me up twice. You hit me up twice, and I think
you must have been
the first time I said I wasn't interested.
Yeah, right.
And then I remember I was in Thailand because I'd gone on holiday for a month or something in Thailand, and what did I might have just done a race, maybe a half marathon or something. And then Tim messaged me, he's like, oh, I just saw you done a race, and how's it going? And I was like, well,
I don't remember this.
Always be selling.
And then I was like, well,
Alec Baldwin.
actually, I'm doing triathlon now, and I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Can I have a coach? And then that sort of
went from there.
And then
So how long have you guys known each other for then?
I'm going to say 2.5, 3 years. Don't say more.
No, it's about, it's just over 2 years.
Just over 2 years.
Coming to 2.5 years.
Yeah,
nice. So before we get on to what you're going to be doing with us, what's next? Because I'm the goals guy, if you like. What's in the pipeline for you? Because you've just done Hell of the West, Goondiwindi.
Yeah, I did Hell of the West, Goondiwindi, which is one that I always heard about and wanted to do, and you get the reputation of Hell of the West is that it's hot and hard and hot, like just hot, like that's what you get from it.
Yeah.
And
It was pretty hot,
so I did that. I did that this year in February, and I rocked up on the Saturday before the race. Sunny skies, and it was warm, and I was like, yeah, it's living up to its reputation. An hour later, Armageddon. Dust storms, thunder, lightning, trees falling over. I was like, what has happened?
Wild West.
What's happened? Yeah, and then race day, it was actually pretty cold, to be honest. It was like 25.
Yeah, right.
So it wasn't. It was hard. So it was a hard race, but it wasn't. I wouldn't say hell. Maybe next year it will. I think I was just very lucky.
Yeah, and you've got a marathon coming up.
I've got a marathon coming up. Yeah, it's been a while since I've
You can't hide on the podcast.
No way, it's out there now.
It's been a while since I've done a standalone marathon. Like my first one was when I first started into like the running and the tries. And
PR coming up?
Yeah, it will be a PR for sure. Well, I hope it is.
What are we shooting for your first sub 3?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Wow.
That's the goal. Yeah.
So super quick, cool. Mate, it's look. I'll say a couple of things. So. It's nice to learn a bit about you, and everyone, you'll really get to know Kent a lot better. And obviously, Kent was on our Sunshine Coast training camp last year, and so Kent is in a transition process of not sexual, no. He's in a transition process of career, I would say. So at the moment, this is going to be a wicked story because there's no doubt that Kent has some coaching talent. There's no doubt about it, and you've got some athletic talent. At the moment, you're roasting coffee beans.
That's it.
To pay the rent,
bills.
To pay the bills. But we're going to help you change that, and you're going to be doing a job that you love doing. And so you just were in Melbourne and did your Training Peaks 101.
Yeah.
So part of so the timing of obviously this transition is you're going to come into full-time coaching from October. Set it on record now, so now you can't back it up. But between now and then, you'll be at the camp, for example, as an assistant coach. So you do have your Triathlon Australian as a development coach. I don't know what you.
Yeah,
I'm not really up to date on accreditations, but you do have some accreditation.
My level, my first level.
Yeah, you've got your national accreditation. You've got experience with Training Peaks. You basically tick all the boxes in terms of, let's just say, credentials. But most importantly, your attitude is damn first class. And from a e-sports point of view, you bring a wealth of knowledge that Greg and I didn't have, but also you're bloody good at running a computer. And
that's an age thing, right?
And we can't even do a Facebook post without it crashing.
So I'm going to jump in. Facebook. Some people were tagged, some weren't. Did you jump in and do a bit of an edit there at all?
No, well, I had tagging issues.
Oh my god!
Kick you under the table, and had some issues there. But so essentially, look, we our focus, certainly Greg and our focus is still on coaching. But one of the coaching tools, if you want to call it that, will be this Swifting esports side. Expanding in that area, but you're certainly going to be helping in the background as an esports consultant.
Yeah, definitely.
And given, particularly on the racing side, obviously, so without putting words in your mouth, but just to put some clarity. So all our races are going to be live streamed with commentary. So Greg and I will be commentating. Now, if you haven't seen a Zwift race or anything like that, just jump on YouTube and type in British National Cycling Championships Zwift.
That's exactly what our first race is going to look like. Is that
no, not quite.
Or like Kiss Super League.
So the BBC sport in the UK, it's a bit
amazing.
Australia, God love this country, but we always are a little bit behind, just from isolation, I would say. But this is already a big thing. So I don't want to stand like I'm on a pedestal saying we're the first, blah, blah, blah. But there is, I would say, a major issue around integrity in Zwift racing. And they admit themselves that they have not been able to solve this issue. I have no idea how they're going to, frankly, until there's some way to... So how the technology works, of course, is you have your avatar, which is you on the screen, right? And that is a representation of you in a race or in training. And the speed at which that goes, can cut me off if I'm wrong, is dictated by power to weight ratio.
Yeah.
Or now, watts per kilo.
Or watts per kilo. So, keyword kilo. So, if you weigh 80 kilos and you happen to want to go faster, you could technically just put in 60 kilos, be pushing the same power, but be going 3 kilometres an hour faster. Exactly. So, it's called weight doping. essentially. It's called technological weight doping. So how the hell do they police that? So it's very clunky at the moment with various third-party platforms like Zwift Power and stuff, where you've got to have a racing history, and really it's up to the gods, if you want to call it, whether they decide whether you've cheated or not. And you'd like to think 99.9% of people probably are honest, but it only takes, well, why they can't do the Olympics, right? So what chance do they got? So that is one of the main reasons why we're trying to keep this internal, obviously, because I feel that we have a far greater way to police our own athletes than people that we don't even meet or know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get you to expand on this a little bit, but for those of you who may have heard of what's called the biological passport, which is a WADA initiative, where they start basically after the Lance era, they were trying to work out a way how, because clearly the dopers are far ahead of the testers, but they're basically creating now passports for many athletes that over a period of time will pick up anomalies.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe I've got
In
that
different
word.
different blood markers in the blood testing that's done.
Correct, and what's got Training Peaks excited is that we're, again, for the first time, using their technology, Training Peaks, as what we're calling a performance passport.
Mm-hmm.
So we know if we don't know what our athletes are capable of, then we shouldn't be coaching, right? So I have absolute confidence that I will know when someone is stretching. Now, I would like to believe that they don't, and I certainly am confident that they wouldn't. But you don't. At the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, you just get surprised. So I think using that technology from an integrity point of view is a big thing, and they even struggled recently. There's so many cases of weight doping still in Zwift. So if there's no integrity around your competition, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in big trouble.
Especially when you start throwing around dollar amounts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll just jump 3 steps ahead, but there's going to come a time when there's definitely going to come a time when e-sports racing with bikes, like we're looking at today in computer gaming, has prize money in excess of $1 million.
No doubt.
And gambling.
No doubt.
So the integrity has to be fixed.
Yep.
So it's definitely something that we're going to be really big on. I'm massive on that stuff. So
the KSDA.
It's on the site.
Doping Authority. So that is the overarching referee of all races.
Yeah.
And races results aren't final until the KSDA has signed off on it.
We're always watching.
Yeah, always watching. So that's not to be from an intimidation point of view, that's generally from a fairness and equity point of view, that we're trying to make it fair and equitable for everyone, that you can race with confidence, that everyone is putting in the right numbers, so we have total visibility. But there are some examples, without naming names because we don't want a lawsuit, but obviously the Kids Super League had a huge controversy in round 4 with this exact thing, and that's at a pro level, so pretty disappointing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is a hard thing to police, because if you're in an event when it's live, it's a bit easier because you've got athletes there.
When you say live, you mean in a room?
Physically,
the live event.
You can carry a set of scales and say jump on
exactly,
that.
but when it's at home or it's worldwide, these people you can jump online wherever.
Yep, and that's the beauty of the technology.
And that is the beauty of the technology. But then it also brings that other thing of it would be quite easy to get away with it. But that's the idea. You don't want that. So you want to be able to police it.
Yeah.
But it comes with the territory of gaming and cycling.
Exactly. For me, it all starts with
sport.
Cycling all starts with a sticky bitten. No, but seriously, they can't even hand a drink bottle
without holding onto it for 10 seconds.
Come on, just hand the drink bottle. It's a culture of trying to get in.
Yeah.
It is rife in trade.
So
it is the thing.
You just said the number one word, right? Culture. So I think in our business we've got a very strong culture with our group. So I actually don't think this is going to be a big issue starting up for us.
No.
So not to downplay it,
but you can't rest on your laurels.
I agree, and that's why we've voiced it now straight up. We've been straight up about it, and that's going to be something that we're definitely going to keep. We're going to look at. We're going to look at ways to improve it, improve the experience for the athlete.
Yep.
So the amount of work that Tim's put into this. and I'm
Oh, we have.
not
Yeah.
but I'm not big on blowing up your tyres, that's for sure. But
There's a lot of commercial.
There's a lot of stuff that's gone into the back end. So when you guys get on board and start up, it should be as seamless as we can make it with the technology we've got available at the moment. That's
It's
pretty much where it-
Coal Sports League is going to be something that's going to be around. You could treat it as a separate division in the company, frankly. I mean, it's intertwined and connected, but it's certainly just from a corporate structure point of view, if we want to get full corporate, is basically the business is now split into two halves of terra firma and esports, and there is some pollination between the two naturally because they are coaching services at the end of the day, but there is a clear distinction between the two, and perhaps because there'll be a few people that will think automatically, because this is their personality type, I'm not good enough.
Yes.
You know, I'm like, okay, so how does racing work where, like, I can only, on my 120 watt, like, I'm not strong enough, like, I'm just going to get smashed.
Like when I went in a B grade race on Zwift last week and pulled the pin up for 5 minutes.
Things like that that'll be turned off by the whole nature of I don't want to come last.
Yep, and we've got plenty of athletes like that.
Yeah, so we've tried to structure it in a way, and Kent, you're going to talk to this, about how the grading works and the categories. So do you want to expand on that, mate?
Yeah, definitely. So we have different gradings and categories to cater for that. You know, it's not going to be, just because you can't push 250 watts doesn't mean that you're not going to be competitive, because we're going to have different gradings.
Yep.
So, you know, A, B, C, D, and it's done on your watts per kilo.
Yep.
So you'll have to brush me up on that, but the watts per kilo will be...
You don't need to go through the exact numbers. That's okay.
No, that's fine.
You'll put them to sleep.
Yeah.
It's all right.
We're going to have different categories. So, you know, if you can only push 120 watts, jump in.
You're in the fight.
We'll have a race for you.
You've still got to fight. You're going to other people pushing the same amount, and that's what racing is. It doesn't. If you're all together doing the same thing, that's a race. And that's exciting.
Yeah, and the idea is not about winning either here. I mean, for some people it's going to be, and if it was me, that's what it is. But for a lot of people, you know, see, there's different points allocated to different categories. You all race at the same time, right? But there's certainly split male and female. So chicks and blokes, you're not against each other. You're in the same race. You're actually competing for the same points. But the allocation of the table and things like that, there's limitations on movements as well. So just to touch on, I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty here because of the conversation, but there's limitations on movements as well. So in terms of, you know, if you win, for example, if you win A grade, you can't drop to B grade, right? Because, you know, or if you podium in B or C grade twice, then you automatically get moved up. We're going to boot you up.
Which keeps that fair as well.
Correct. So there is some restrictions of movement and things like that, again, to keep it fair. So guys, it's obviously primarily designed to keep you accountable and fit over these months, let's be honest, but also it's going to expose you to, I believe, a whole new wave of fitness, for foremost, fitness, because, oh my God, it hurts.
It's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it hurts, but there are some intricacies to Zwift racing. So you can become, you compete, you do well in the Coal Sports League, we're getting you ready to become a national champion. How many national championships are there in Zwift racing now? How many Zwift races are there? There are so many events and leagues around there. We are one league of many, but we are unique in a sense that we are all encompassing and all under one roof. So you get a 3-month Zwift access code when you sign up. So that's part of the deal, and you just we'll walk you through the rest. But
so even
no flat tires either.
No, so that's what I was going to. I've just written down here. So the benefits of indoor cycling, e-sports, e-racing, whatever it may be called, the Coal Sports League, the benefits of that are, some from me, no flats, right? So no wet weather.
Just sweat.
Oh my God. So there's new, Mark off, I've got a new product out that's to get sweat off your bike, right? So there's some new products coming out because this is where the industry is going. So they're a couple of the benefits. One of the ones we touched on with Christy before, you're not going to get wiped out by a vehicle. I can probably guarantee that, right? You're not going to crash your bike. You're a great example, Tim, that time is definitely tight sometimes. So for someone that's looking after a new child, for example, that's going to have a 2-hour sleep, you got 2 hours on the trainer.
Yeah.
You can't go out to the shops and the pub and have a couple of beers, or go out on your road bike for 4 hours, but you can squeeze an hour and a half in on the trainer. So the benefits of indoor cycling in the world we live in today, and like people like Harish that lives in in India, people that are snowed in for a week, whatever. People come back from injury. There's all sorts of benefits to it. So I think if it's not the racing that really gets you excited, the training should.
The group workouts.
The group workouts.
Suffering all together. So be able to have 40 Coa Sports athletes in a group workout together with so you all stay together. The technology will all keep us together, and you have coaching, and the coach is there with you suffering as well. So you get to watch.
And
the
you
coach
can give
suffer.
live feedback through comments and stuff. The coach can literally give live feedback to other athletes, regarding cadence, regarding power, whatever it may be. So there's a whole load of additional benefits in there for athletes that are looking for little extra ways to be better for next season.
And you've got 9 races to have as events in your Training Peaks calendar. So you literally, some of your goal setting might be now set around the Zwift Racing calendar.
A rest day before a Zwift race.
That's going to be
cool.
Yeah, different things like that. So that real performance. There are so many more benefits.
Totally. So it just keeps it interesting during the winter as well. Because, like you said, it's hard to go outside when it's cold or snowing if you're in the northern hemisphere and stuff like that. It makes it harder. So just being able to jump on and be jumping in a race or a group workout, they say shared pain's half the pain. So knowing fellow co-athletes are doing the same thing and suffering with you is just...
And I think also, so really interestingly is that so for guys in the north, this is not just a winter thing. Also, I've been Malaysia, Colombo, Port Macthing. I've been Zwift racing for the last 6 months,
Sweatboxing,
using it as part of my racing season. So really maximising in that regard. So it's from a winter sport point of view. Because it's easy. You can jump in and you don't have to put on 17 layers. You just jump on the trainer and you're able to do that. But certainly, just from a complementary point of view for your racing season, whilst you're in it too. Holy moly!
there's a whole range of things you can do with that. So if you want to train for hot races, put the heater on. Put a jumper on. Whatever. You can't do that on your bike.
No, it's true. It's true.
There's a whole range of stuff.
So Coa Sports League is what it's called.
CoaSportsLeague.com.
.com. So that's where it's at. So just to rehash, just for a second. So. We're doing group workouts, we've got group events, we've got live racing, we've got live commentary, we've got prizes, we've got the performance passport, we've got accountability like you've never seen. Now this all exists, but not one organisation is bringing it all together, and you've got coaching, of course, which is the big kicker. So we're going to offer, and Kent, you're a huge part of that, mate. So you'll be busy rolling up your sleeves and getting into that, and it's been a significant focus for Kent of late, helping getting it all set up, mate. So we cannot wait to get you all involved. Oh man, it's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be great. Yeah, it's going to be a heap of fun.
There'll be a bit of banter, no doubt.
Can't wait for the commentary.
Who will be the first Coa Sports League male and female champion?
First race, I'm bringing popcorn. I'm bringing popcorn for the first race, and we're going to commentate with popcorn.
Will it be my athletes?
No beers. No beers there. Post camp.
That's it, man. It's going to be.
It's going to be good fun.
We'll be on the tools. So
next step, Tim. So someone's out there listening now. What have they got to do to make the next step to get the league started for them? How do they get started?
Well, if they just want to have a little bit of a preliminary look, they literally just go to CoaSportsLeague.com. All the information is there. Otherwise, do what you usually do and just talk to your coach and ask some questions. So give me a call. Give Greg a call at the moment. Kent will be soon when you've got some athletes who are giving you a call. With any so once you do sign up and getting the technology to work, so it's a bit like buying a phone for the first time. There is some setup process. Kent will be big in helping in that regard, and helping you. So be patient. Right, I can't stress this enough that it is worthwhile the time to invest and just give this a go. like, give it a go. It is, yep, there is a financial commitment, and that's obviously because there's a lot of time and preparation and technology to make all this happen and look great. But I'm telling you, you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. And it might even just be for the runner out there. Like, I'm deadly serious. Like, I can see this helping a runner, no doubt about it. So,
it's like, perfect example as a runner, because you can't run 7 days a week.
Yeah, that's right.
For cross training, it's
we'd not be doing this if we did not think that this was going to make you a better athlete in the real world, if you want to call it that. And man, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to get into the season proper. But yeah, man,
check it out. Sports.com.
Check it out. And so we've just expanded the team by 33% today.
33% growth in one day.
In 1 day. So we might, I suppose we'll just leave that and let people now reach out to us. And each podcast, as the season goes on, we're going to have a little e-sports segment.
Yeah, we can have little race recaps.
Little race recaps, highlights,
tips,
points tables.
Yeah.
People want to know how many points, series points. So there's points all the way down to 10th. Points down to 5th in each race, but prizes down to 10th.
Yeah.
Prizes
overall.
down to 10th overall.
Anyway, that's all online. You can check
that's
all
all.
that.
That's all online.
It's really exciting. It's going to be. There's no. Look, I've been looking around. There's not a coaching business out there that offers this. I honestly, I can't find that.
I bet you someone will send us one.
Yep, send them through. Bring it on, right?
Yeah.
So and I will say this: we've learnt a lot, but we are still learning.
Absolutely.
Right? So Kent and I this morning had an athlete that had a trainer that we didn't even know was a smart trainer.
Yeah.
And guess what? It is. Right? So
it's an evolving technology.
Totally. And it's still like we've been dialing into Zwift podcasts and stuff for quite a while now. And there is some pretty exciting stuff going to happen with Zwift over the next. They've had a huge capital investment into their business. That's all public knowledge. There's nothing to hide there. So there's going to be some exciting stuff coming on the platform that's going to just increase your experience.
And if the feather power up doesn't mean anything to you, it will. And if it does mean something to you, you're already ahead of the game.
Don't use it on the downhill. It's always.
That's a good point.
So
that was a Zwift joke.
Yeah, I know as well. It's a head wobble. Who would think I would make a technology joke?
What are we doing next week? Next week.
Forgotten. No. So next month, we're off to Port Macquarie road tripping, but we are going to stop on the way.
We are
on the famous Gold Coast. There's a casino there. On the Gold.
There is.
We're going to Jupiter's.
It is Jupiter's.
We're going to stop in and meet with Troy, who is the founder. Am I correct? Co-founder of International Protein, one of our great supporters. And we are going to talk all things nutrition with him.
Supplements.
Supplements and a bit of nutrition.
Yeah.
Right. So Troy will be definitely on the show. So we'll probably as much time as we want to spend with him, or as he's got, we'll spend with him to talk about.
And it's not about international protein supplements, by the way. It's literally about. I hope by the end of it, you know what BCAAs do. You know what the difference between superior whey and whey protein isolate. You know the benefits, what happens to your body during a workout, what you need to replenish. Every time I catch up with Troy, I take away something. And looks can be deceiving. He looks like a badass dude. Would be the way to put it. But and also just from a say gap point of view, unbelievable businessman. I mean, he started this thing from the dust with Christine, and is now massive. I'm going to ask him how many tons of protein they do a week, but it's absolutely extraordinary. Now, supplements, controversial topic in its own right, because a lot of people think that it's expensive urine, but we are talking about the pointy edge of the wedge.
Yeah.
And no doubt about that, but it can form part of recovery and performance.
So
we're going to go there.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So that's coming up next time. So are you going to bring to the next one? The last time I saw you in a photo with Troy, you had a business shirt that was buttoned 3 buttons down and some chinos on. Are you going to bring them?
Well, previous days.
With the aviators hanging on the shirt. I still remember.
My full-on sales. Oh my goodness.
No, it'll be really good. So we're looking forward to catching up with him. And look out if you're in Port Macquarie. We're bringing the microphones.
Yeah, man.
So that'll be good fun too.
Got a good crew racing again.
Absolutely. So so that's pretty much us, I think.
And if you just want to come down and watch your Coa Sports athletes because you've got nothing to do, come down and say good
Come
day.
up from Sydney, it's only a 4-hour drive.
Or a 7-hour drive from Sunshine.
You won't find a bed, you'll have to stay 40 minutes up the street, but that's alright.
But what an episode, man. Look, Kent, man, welcome.
Thanks.
And mate, we can't wait to have you on for many, many episodes. I'll just say, man, very proud that you've had the chutzpah to take this step. It beats roasting coffee beans, so it's a short step. It's a step nonetheless.
It's a process, and I'm looking forward to the journey. So it's a new journey, it's a new chapter, and I'm really excited to start this. And I know how much work has gone into this as well, and it's super, super exciting to get it finally announced and ready to go. So.
CoaSportsLeague.com. What else can we promote just quickly, mate? Just our social channels.
Facebook. If you're following the podcast, subscribe to it.
What do you get on Facebook? If you look at our Facebook page, what's
right now?
Oh, just in general, you get our Facebook.
Okay. So we do our fortnightly wraps of who's racing around the world. That always blows my head off in relation to like how many countries are represented each and every week or fortnight. We only do it fortnightly, which I think is important. And then we do our results wrap on there as well. The amount of times we see PBs or PRs popping up, where all that sort of jazz.
Do you use PB or PR?
I'm a PB guy.
I'm a PB as well.
I think PR's an American.
Strava.
Is it Strava?
Strava thing, maybe.
I think it's more of an Americanism, is it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Can you let us know? Info at coasports.com whether PR or PB, what the difference is.
And then Instagram, I'll touch on Instagram for a little bit because we share a lot of photo content on there.
Is Instagram photos?
General rule, send us through your photos in your Coa Sports kit. That's sort of generally the rule we follow.
A little bit,
so they always come up really good.
Pancakes and your pancakes.
Definitely. Once you guys getting into this Zwift thing now, we want to see some. We're all about fun, right? So send us the one where your dog's half asleep on the ground because the dog's given up, or all that sort of stuff. Or the kids are running the water bottles to you, and a spraying in the face with a whatever.
I think
have some fun with it.
What surprised me is that you're surprised in what you do actually has an effect on so many others. So you may think it's nothing, but it probably means a lot to other people. And if anything, this podcast has proven that to me. So,
we forgot a segment.
What's this?
Excuse of the week.
Oh!
They've been flooding. Excuse of the episode, we should call it, because it's all in a week. Anyway, I think there's been a bit of truth stretched in some of the probably looking for to get to the step of being.
We had someone miss a session because their mother-in-law was flying into town and they had something, so they blamed the mother-in-law. Often the excuse is, of course, someone else's fault.
Never your fault.
So that was.
So I haven't actually got anyone this week that I'm going to name and shame.
Someone had a sniffle, and they literally put the word sniffle in there. And I was like, you can't say sniffle. It's just wrong. It's, at least go hard with flu or something.
Flu or something. So anyway, we haven't got anyone particularly this week, but we are looking. There's a lot of texts that go back and forth between Tim and I with different humorous sides of coaching.
It's all under wraps, of course.
All under wraps. There's nothing. That's all fun. We don't. There's nothing disclosed that shouldn't be. But anyway, I think we should wrap it up, and we might wrap it up with this.
What are we wrapping up with?
Get out and start Zwifting.
That's it, man. Right on.
Right on. See you guys.
See you guys. Yeah.